former US ambassador to NATO and special representative to Ukraine, Kurt Volker. Mr. Volker, thank you very much indeed for coming in.
It's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Clearly, the European side are scrabbling around trying to find something that will buy Donald Trump off. Is that possible?
I think it's possible that there will be a solution here on Greenland that won't involve the U.S. getting sovereignty over Greenland. But I'm not sure that you can put it in terms of buying Trump off. I think that he has it in his mind that we need to own Greenland in order to justify all the security investments and the minerals investments that he wants to do. The fact is, you don't need to own it to do all that. We have a treaty with Denmark from 1951. We can do everything we need to do militarily. The reason we don't have a larger military presence there now is because of the decisions of prior U.S. administrations to pull out rather than anything that Denmark or Greenland has done.
So there is a completely reasonable and obvious semi-diplomatic answer to this. But the trouble seems to be, as so often, there is a kind of glint in Donald Trump's eye, which involves a huge American flag plastered over Greenland, which he seems to think is bigger than it actually is, by the way. And he's not backing down on that at all.
No, he hasn't yet. And I think he's going to find that this is not popular in the U.S., threatening to take the territory of an ally.
The polling is pretty drastic. I think 4% of Americans said they'd back U.S. military action for Greenland.
Yeah, 4% military, and I think it was 15% just trying to take it at all, even if it's non-military, and 70% against. So I think he's not got popular backing for this. He certainly doesn't have backing on Capitol Hill either. So I think, as he has often done, he puts out an extreme position, and he gets everybody reacting to him, and then we'll see what comes out of that. And he did have J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio sit down with the Danish foreign minister and the Greenlandic foreign minister. And I was told that was a very reasonable conversation. They obviously, they had to reflect Donald Trump's position, but they were able to talk, they were able to listen, they were able to have another meeting. And I think we will end up in the end talking about substance rather than talking about ownership.
I'm beginning to think there's some good news in all of this. It's been a sort of slightly good news day. The Iranians aren't sort of hanging lots of people as we thought they might do, and we haven't had an attack on Iran as such yet. And perhaps the Greenland crisis is going to melt away a little bit like the rest of Greenland.
Well, we hope that it does. We're not there yet, and he has been very serious about saying, we got to own it. But I don't see how he ever gets there, and I think he can get a Danish commitment for substantial host nation support, for a larger U.S. military presence, maybe some financing for this. And he can get memoranda of understanding that when the ice melts, we can mine there.
Which is also what he wants, all the rare earth minerals, which are very important to America and American tech. This idea of an Arctic century, this is maybe where Donald Trump is right, in that the melting of the ice and what's going on in the far north, the high north, means that Russia and China are more of a threat there than they have been, even if they haven't got quite as many ships there as he says they have at the moment. And therefore, some kind of new NATO involvement up there involving perhaps Denmark and Britain, Norway and other countries, as well as America, Canada, is sensible.
Yeah, no, that is very much true, that the ice is melting. There is more shipping in the Arctic. We don't have a great icebreaker fleet ourselves. We're now building some icebreakers. We do not have a large presence in the Arctic other than in Alaska. I think he's right that we need to have a larger presence in Greenland. If you look at an Arctic projection of a map, that's where anything coming from Russia and many things from Asia approach the U.S. from, as well as everything from Europe. So it is important to be present, to be observing, whether it's space or whether it's naval. So he's right about that. But you don't need to be threatening to attack a NATO ally to deal with that.
Well, let's hope this is one crisis that, as I say, is going to melt quietly away. Kurt Volker, thank you very, very much indeed for coming in and talking.
Pleasure to see you, Andrew.
What do you make of these statements we've heard from the president over the last few months?
Well, if people have read The Art of the Deal, it's absolutely textbook Donald Trump, what they're doing. So confusion and setting the bar to above what is, what's supposed to be legal in international law. And that is the way they are doing it. And I think the way we should react here is to be calm and also be, professional and diplomatic, and see what's the concern? What's the interest of the United States? Why is it that it is so important for the United States? And I can certainly understand the geopolitical situation, the economic, war there is between hegemons in the world, and also the climate change, because we don't even have proper winter anymore here in Greenland. So the ice is melting. And when the ice is melting, a lot of vessels, shipping vessels, will go through our waters around the Northwest Passage and also around the east coast of Greenland. And of course, we lack the equipment to see and detect eventual adversaries, submarines, vessels, maybe also airplanes sometimes. So, of course, it's an exaggeration to say that there's it's filled with Russian and Chinese vessels around Greenland. That's not absolutely true, but there's also something in between. So maybe the Danish media is not denying, they are saying, of course, it's not true that there's 1,000 vessels around Greenland.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, because there are differing reports, and Donald Trump has said there's been sort of malign activity from China and Russia in the Arctic, which we know, but in particular sailing around Greenlandic waters. Do you recognise that?
Unfortunately, yes. Right now, we opened a new airport here in Nuuk. A new airport is opening in Ilulissat, north of Nuuk, and another one in South Greenland. Initially, it was supposed to be a Chinese company that was going to build them. And the foreign minister the prime minister of Denmark back then, Lars Løkke Rasmussen, who is the foreign minister now, actually stopped the process there, and now they invested in the airports, and it's a Danish company building them, and also a Canadian company building the Safon airport. So our strategy from a foreign strategy is also not directly saying that we are not inviting Chinese investments. We are open for business for anyone. So I think those concerns need to be addressed by Greenland.
Your relationship is interesting, because I read that you attended Donald Trump's inauguration. Is that true?
Well, I was not invited directly. My friend went there, and I had the opportunity to tag along for some meetings and some parties, but I was there I paid for it privately and attended some of the.
Sure. I wasn't accusing you of anything, but I'm just curious to know. Are you sympathetic to the president's position then?
I'm sympathetic not the Donald Trump. I'm sympathetic about the Greenlandic population. I'm pro-Greenland, I want independence from our de facto annexation and also de facto colonization. So we are still a de facto colony and also de facto annexed by Denmark. So we need to adhere to international law. Our right to external self-determination must be activated now so that we can address the tensions there are by ourselves, but also maybe with the help of our former colony, Denmark, because if we activate our right to external self-determination, maybe our countries will finally find a solution to not split with each other, but work with each other.
And so you want, I think most of the political parties, if not all in Greenland, are advocating for independence, is my understanding. If Greenland does vote for independence, what then happens, do you imagine, from the Kingdom of Denmark?
Well, it's it's a misunderstood narrative, because if we decide to become independent, it's a decision our government can make. After the decision, it's written in law that we should negotiate with Denmark. And those negotiations are already written what parameters we should negotiate on. That is free association. That's about the annual subsidy and so forth. But both parties, Denmark and Greenland, should find a good negotiated solution where Greenland gets the sovereignty back of the island, which was taken away from us during colonization and also during the false integration in 1953. So in a way, it will be a reckoning for Greenland to say, we will get our island back legally, but we are willing to absolutely work with Denmark on many terms because we are related in family, we are related in the way the law has built up and the welfare system and so forth.
But what if there is a financial package offered by President Trump and he says, well, I don't want Greenland to be the 51st state, but I'm going to look after the territory, have all these I know they've already got military bases there. Is that something you would imagine that the Greenlandic government would consider?
I think the Greenlandic government, or especially Naleraq party here, which I'm speaking in terms of, is fully aware of the geopolitical situation. We are fully aware of the national security of the United States and the Northern Hemisphere and the Western alliances. So we are fully aware that we probably, as a sovereign state, according to what we negotiate with Denmark, could eventually make a bilateral agreement with the US in regards to military presence and what they are allowed to do. But also, if we work with Denmark according to, I don't know how the negotiations will go, but if they go that we are in a sort of a union with Denmark, It, of course, has to be a trilateral agreement.
But I mean, he is saying, as you know, that he will take it by force. If he can't buy it, he is not ruling out the use of force. And that would be Danish forces versus American forces, and presumably you guys in the middle. I mean, does that worry you?
I'm not buying into. I'm not going to protect the U.S. administration here, but I'm not buying that narrative. Also, the interview yesterday, he said to the interviewer that you're putting words into me. I never said that I will use military force, but it could be the hard or the easy way. But it's absolutely textbook the art of the deal. So. I think we should adhere to international law. Greenland is adhering to international law and also our local law as the Self-Rule Act, which we need to activate from the government of Greenland with the accept of the Greenlandic Parliament, and then the negotiations can start. And after the negotiations are finished, it will be presented to the Parliament of Greenland. If the Parliament accepts that, we will have a plebiscite in Greenland.
Lastly, I've never been to Nuuk. I've never been to Greenland. I know you're talking about the airport, the most recent airport that's being built as well. For people who haven't been, and of course there's only a population of, I think it's around 55,000 Greenlanders, what is distinctive about a Greenlandic identity?
Well, I speak Greenlandic.
Yes.
Most Inuit Greenlanders speak Greenlandic. We eat seal, we eat whale, we live by the sea, we eat a lot of fish. We live by our primary export is fish, and maybe some of the pillars that we are building up is tourism. You can almost always see aurora borealis here in Nuuk in the winter, very beautiful. And also it's a very big island, so some places where I come from, you will see icebergs the size of high-rises in Dubai.